This has been one of the most hype returns for a television show and a Marvel property in quite a while. I think people were really excited about it, especially with the way the Netflix shows kind of just petered out. They just kind of ended. Many were disappointed. Obviously Iron Fist was tragic and how bad it was. It's not a hot take to say that Daredevil was the best of the bunch, and it was absolutely fantastic. And I think of the Marvel properties, especially the television shows that we see now, this is far and away the best, right? Even one episode in that we've watched so far, I believe it was a 2 episode premiere tonight, but it's premium, right? This is what we wanted out of the franchise. This is what we want out of the IP. We want something that feels cinematic and feels full. Now, I will say I do have a few complaints. I think that while it does set up well, if you're just jumping in now, you don't necessarily need to watch the other series. I watch too much British TV. I think it does absolutely help because there are some things that happen in this that are kind of like gut-wrenching, right? They're tragic. That you won't get the full impact if you don't really know the characters, and to see that growth of them from starting in Hell's Kitchen where they were just poor and they couldn't even get a client, and they're taking soup as payment, to where they are now in these fancy offices. That growth. And I hate to say, I think Charlie Cox is awesome. Deborah Ann Woll is great. Eldon Henson, he's good in this as well. I'm sorry, there's going to be some spoilers for the limited time that he is in this. I don't like Vincent D'Onofrio. I have never liked him in this role. He's not menacing enough, even though he's clearly psychotic, right? I think Vincent D'Onofrio does an absolute amazing job. I just don't like the representation where it feels like he's always kind of crying. He's almost ready to break down. I want more of those scenes like back from season 1 where he just crushes the dude's freaking head in the door. I want that. I want a little bit more of the menace. And I think there's some really just amazing scenes and shots in this. I'll go over what I don't like first. What I don't like is that, yeah, you do need a kind of a lot of background. I like that they don't really go into how he became Daredevil and all that sort of thing again. I think that's all fine. But I think that some of the CGI in this is not great. If you ever watched Gotham, right, sometimes there were some really cool scenes of the city, and other times it was like, wow, that's really bad. And in this, there's a couple scenes, especially there's one where Kingpin D'Onofrio Fisk is standing on top of a building with Vanessa, and you're seeing these searchlight spotlights going off in the kind of moving around in the background, and it looks not good. It looks really, really bad. I think Daredevil moving, the way he's moving across the buildings, I don't, maybe because Charlie Cox can't quite do it anymore. It's been that long. I don't know what it is, but it looks fake. It looks cheap. I know that this really takes a lot of influence, the Chan Park and the Vengeance trilogy, especially Old Boy, and the fights in the corridors, and just the kind of the brutal violence of them. And I like that Daredevil gets his ass kicked, right? I do like that he takes damage. I don't like that he gets his ass kicked all the time. I want to see him, especially this far out where he's kind of in the groove. I wanted to see him. So the first bad guy that we see in this is Bullseye, right? It's Bullseye. And he kind of kicks Daredevil's ass, which is okay because obviously this is a big get, right? This is the big reveal. But Daredevil, he just gets his ass kicked too much. And I don't need more of that. That was something that I was starting to grow tired of with the first few seasons of this show. I think also Deborah Ann Woll needed to be a little bit more in this. They kind of wrote her out a little too early. Really, I guess that's about it. I think some of the visuals definitely need to be better. But as far as the actual scenes, there's one where, it's just the cinematography is beautiful. Whether it's a fly landing on a light bulb and Bullseye coming in and screwing it back in, or the way the way Foggy gets shot, just absolutely that was amazing. Seeing that whole thing, the way the camera is moving, almost like in Children of Men, is like this continuous shot as Daredevil is fighting Bullseye up and down corridors and stairwells and onto a roof and through a bar and all this. There are some scenes that are just absolutely striking in this. There's one where Fisk is talking to Vanessa, and you see him reflected in this glass table, and there's a circular light around him, and it shows on the table like he's wearing a halo, right? Just showing that, is he really reformed, or is he sort of angelic now? Is he coming as a savior? There's another scene later on where Murdoch confronts Fisk, and they are having a conversation in a diner, right? This sort of innocuous conversation, but it's just loaded with subtext. And as they're sitting across from each other, they do this brilliant filming technique where it's almost like Gandalf and Frodo, right? Because D'Onofrio's not that much bigger than Charlie Cox, but because Cox is sitting back a little bit further from the table, whereas Fisk and D'Onofrio are, right on the table and leaning across, it looks like he's this massive looming presence. And the way they talk back and forth, you can see that there's a chemistry there. And just that scene of the juxtaposition of the two characters as they're both saying, I'm going to do whatever it takes to stop you, or I'm here just to make sure you don't, get into power or whatever it is. Like, those are absolutely fantastic. And for anything and nothing else, that's worth watching for that. Daredevil gets upset with what happens with Foggy, and so he quits. This is where it starts. He quits, which again, I don't need that. Like there was too much self-whinging before. I don't need more of that. And so, obviously the show is going to lead to him coming back, right? And he's going to, the big reveal, because he's going to fight against Fisk and, all that, because Fisk is back. But we need something, I think we need something a little new, something a little different. But here's where I'm making this video, and this is why I love this. There's absolutely zero coincidence that this came on at 9 o'clock Eastern time, the same time that Fuhrer Trump is going on public television and kicking out Democrats and talking about free speech while not allowing the Democrats to actually protest, right? Or not allowing them to say anything, while he's shutting down programs and stopping DE&I and all this other stuff. And I'm not going to get too political here, but I don't think it's absolutely any coincidence that this comes out at the same time when we've got Fisk coming out, and it's not Make America Great Again or Make New York Great Again, but Fisk can fix it, right? That is not a coincidence. The allegory between and the illusions between Fisk and Trump are right there. They're very obvious. Everything from there's a graffiti of Kingpin there that looks like the Time magazine cover with King on it, and him looking down while his people are fucking going mad in the streets, and women are being hurt and chased. Like that is happening. And it's not a coincidence. It is not a coincidence. It is clearly intentional. And I think if they can keep this up, I think that if they can do this right, this is going to be monumental. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be amazing to watch. And oh my God, I'm doing my political thing with my hands and all that. And oh my God. So anyway, I think that this show is going to be absolutely amazing. I'm really excited to see where it's going. I haven't been this excited for a Marvel show in quite a while. So see it, stream or skip. Obviously, this is streaming, and if you have the opportunity, I would watch this. It is absolutely fantastic, and it's not just because I'm, you see him behind me, a big Daredevil fan, because I think that this is kind of what we need right now. So anyway, thank you all. I do appreciate. Please like, share, subscribe, and I will see you all later.